Drexel Theater, and we really appreciate you coming out tonight. What a great, how about a hand for this turnout? This is amazing. Incredible. Especially, we're very proud tonight to be showing a film made right here in Columbus, supporting a local filmmaker on what I think is one of the most gorgeous and beautiful buildings in the state of Ohio, maybe in the entire Midwest. And when you see this film, I'm not going to say too much about it because this film really speaks for itself, but this building, the LeVeque Tower, formerly called the Citadel, you're going to see some amazing things about this film, about the building, about the history, the beginnings of a great idea for Columbus, Ohio.
Today, the skyline of Columbus, Ohio, is shaped by a handful of skyscrapers. Yet not so long ago, only one towered above Ohio's capital city. And for almost 50 years, was the only skyscraper. Becoming an icon of the city. The LeVeque Tower, or as it was originally known, the American Insurance Union Citadel. Theater was filled to its 4,000-seat capacity. The invocation was read from the flower-draped stage.
Here and now, Heavenly Father, we dedicate ourselves individually and collectively to an unselfish service to thy little children.
The audience was then led by the AIU Girls Glee Club in singing Ode to the Citadel.
Oh, you dearest tower on high, our eyes rest lovingly, we sing thy praise.
Before I relinquish this building, I must tell you why we've been able to have such a beautiful and such a wonderful structure. Back of this job was John J. Lentz. He is truly a great man, a man of such vision, such high ideals and capacity for work. I take great pleasure in formally presenting to you the keys to the Citadel, a symbol of the high and noble ideals of your great company.
Brotherhood means doing good to a man.
A great insurance company to defend the welfare of the stricken family.
He can dream dreams and then make them come true.
and laurel. Just below that, flanking the parapet, were 6 gigantic eagles. Further down, on each side of the tower, at the 495-foot mark, are the 4 enormous statuary groups. A strong father figure holding 2 small children, symbolizing protection and education. The central figure stands almost 30 feet tall. It's designed to look normal size when viewed from the ground. The head alone weighs 1,000 pounds. Guardian angels that extend from the 38th floor down to the 35th look out from the corners of the building. Each holds a scroll listing the past achievements of the American Insurance Union, with space left for future ones. At the corner niches of the 35th floor stand 4 18-foot tall eagles. They have a wingspan of 22 feet and weighed 7 tons each. Symbols and images drawn from the pantheons of the world's religions adorn the rest of the exterior. Minerva, Greek goddess of wisdom, as well as her sacred creature, the owl. The white oak, symbol of longevity, strength. The beehive, industry. The winged torch, representative of knowledge. The axe, with a handle of many rods tied together, many working in unison for one goal. The earth, moon, and sun. There is a panel called The Progress of Man, which depicts what at the time was thought of as the 5 races of man: Caucasian, American Indian, Ethiopian, Malayan, and Mongolian. Various other Greek gods and goddesses adorn the entrances to the building. Within the main lobby lies a great bronze tablet set in the white marble floor. The circular plaque is a sun, which originally had the AIU logo at its heart, encircled by a ring of 13 stars. The sun's rays depict the cardinal directions. But Columbus gained an architectural marvel: a glowing terracotta tower with few equals in the country.
So stupendous an undertaking as the dedication of a world-famous building could not be completed in a single day,
wrote the AIU magazine. Dedication ceremonies were planned for the entire week, with the climax on Wednesday, the 21st. Hundreds of delegates from American Insurance Union chapters all around the country flocked to Columbus for the grand event. All attending delegates were given heart-shaped souvenir badges embossed with a picture of the Citadel and John Jay. The packed Keith Albee Theater sat through the morning's 3-hour dedication program, all hailing the American Insurance Union and its founder. Lentz introduced Albert Bushnell Hart to the crowd as the man who coined the name Citadel.
The responsibility you ascribe to me, I cannot accept, because to my knowledge, John Lentz named this building just as he imagined, planned, contracted, watched, nursed, and will occupy it for many years to come. The truth is that nobody in the world had the confidence necessary to name so large a building all at one time. He can dream dreams and then make them come true.
Another outstanding date in the history of the American Insurance Union was marked the Red Pencil Wednesday, when John J. Lentz, founder of the organization and builder of the 5th tallest building in the world, dedicated that structure. A huge crowd who were there to evidence their interest in a new step forward in their city. Mr. Lentz is known throughout the country. This Citadel, which he dedicated Wednesday, he regards as his memorial, his monument to a dream which came true.
33 years of unbridled growth, coupled with a righteous cause, had instilled the American Insurance Union with a sense of invincibility. The Citadel symbolized not only the prosperity of the AIU, but the city as well. All of Ohio could look towards Columbus for inspiration. With the completion of the Citadel, it appeared that the American Insurance Union and Columbus would continue to grow for years to come.
So many fascinating things about this building. I hope you have some great questions. I forgot to thank somebody at the beginning, so my apologies. How about a big hand for WCBE Radio, our public broadcasting station. All their great support. Really appreciate WCBE. I know some of them are here today, so I appreciate that. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the first of our two speakers, and I'm going to have them both come down here, so why don't you hold your applause. Bob Leversage is a Columbus architect, president of Schooley Caldwell Associates. He is the past chair of the American Institute of Architects Historical Resource Committee, and he recently was given an Ohio AIA Gold Medal Award. He was, as I said earlier, the principal architect on the restoration of the historic landmark Ohio State House, and he also was the principal architect on the restoration of the Frank Lloyd Wright home in the Westcott House in Springfield, Ohio. And one of his favorite buildings is the LeVeque Tower. So, Bob, we've got your chair and your mic there. And our guest director who made the film, Seth Moherman, is a graduate of the Ohio State Television Production Department. His first job was at Channel 6, WSYX television, and he moved on to, briefly, he lived in Washington where he worked for the Discovery Channel, National Geographic, he worked for MTV, and he just told me in the lobby, I didn't know this, he worked on the Real Housewives of New Jersey second season. So you can ask a few questions about it. You guys don't watch that, right? We don't watch that. The Citadel is his second film. His first film was an interesting film that I didn't know was showed on Channel 10. I actually watched it and didn't know he directed it. It was called Winning Lives, the story of Ted Ginn Jr., who was probably the most infamous, successful high school football coach in the history of Ohio, and produced a Heisman winner who played at Ohio State a few years ago. His most recent film, after this one, is a short film he's made for WCBE. And how about a big hand for both of our guests today? So I'm going to let both Bob and Seth talk briefly just about, I think Seth's going to talk a little bit about his research in making the film and how the film got made, and Bob's going to talk about his favorite building, and then we'll open it up for questions. And I'm going to be down here to help. Just stand up and wave. If it gets really packed, we'll start a line in this aisle over here. So I'll control that, and we'll keep the questions going. You can stay as long as you want. Okay, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for coming. This is quite a turnout. I'm impressed. Yeah, I guess the first thing I want to say about this is it's kind of funny. This was my first archival research project, and I didn't really realize going into it that it was going to be that much of a scavenger hunt, where you end up spending all your time digging through microfilm, going through the Historical Society of Archives, and basically just looking for any piece. Because this story, one of the things that really drew me to it when I started researching it was that the story just didn't seem to be out there. There's bits and pieces of it that talk about the man that built it, but the overall, like the background and the exact details are just kind of gone. Like the whole, it was really weird that a company that was that big, like the American Insurance Union, which was a huge national company, they had chapters all over the country. They, like at the time, during the height of their period, one of their, I guess it would be their main, most nationally prominent member was like the U.S. Secretary of Labor. They always brought him out for all the big events. So, I mean, it wasn't just a local company. It was very national. And I found it weird that it just kind of deleted from public record. Once the company went bankrupt, it's just vanished. And the same with John Lentz, a man that was a congressman. He was a noted businessman. You know, in Columbus, the key people like Schiller and Deschler and Wallach, you see their names everywhere. There's parks for him, there's streets for him, and there's nothing for Lenz. He's just sort of gone. Supposedly, according to some articles, they wanted to name Front Street after him. He said no, but I was still kind of surprised afterwards that nobody did, but maybe they didn't want to name something after a guy who built a building that destroyed the company, basically. That's probably a good rule of thumb, not to name things for somebody with that much hubris. Well, I guess first I should also thank the Citadel song was performed by Eve Searles. She's here somewhere. Eve, if you would like to stand up. Because when I was piecing this together, all the stock music I used, all the classical music I used, but that was the one song that I really wanted to have. And like one of her songs on her record, Eve's record, it has that layered vocaling that I wanted for a chorus, and she did exactly what I wanted to do. Though I kind of forgot when I had the credits rolling that there is the part where it says "Thy shaft on high." So I'm sorry that that embarrassing, but at the time I'm sure the gravitas was very appropriate for that kind of song. Bob.
Well, Jeff asked me to talk a little bit tonight about the future of the LeVeque Tower. He said it's one of my favorite buildings, and it's really one of the buildings that when you travel all over the country and you tell people you're from Columbus, they always ask about this building. They don't ask about some of the others, the newer ones, but everybody asks, is the LeVeque Tower still there? Is it still standing? Has it been restored? And we're always happy to say that it is still there. I brought some pictures to show you kind of what it looks like today. We saw the historical photographs. I just talk a little bit about where it's going next. LeVeque Tower is still majestic from a distance. It still looks fabulous. Some of the details may be gone from the top, but a lot of it is still there. When you get up a little closer, you find out that it's aged, and while the building has been viable and usable all this time, it shows its age. When you get up even closer, it gets a little scary. I do a talk sometimes called "Water is Evil." Some of you may have heard me talk about that. Well, water gets into this glazed terracotta, which is like a teacup. It's a clay product with a glaze on the outside of it. Water gets behind it and does really bad things. And so the building shows that. It also shows just kind of wear and tear. It's been in service for over 80 years. And some of its systems are tired, some of its life safety situations, the codes have changed. And so we're spending a lot of time getting to know the building, getting to understand it. And while I'm showing you some of the things some of the works that you see when you're up close, it's worth noting that Columbus Underground last year called it our best local landmark. It is the building for which Columbus is known all over the country. I'm sure that you've read and heard that the building has new owners, and after the LeVeque family passed the building on to several series of out-of-town landlords, the new owners are local. They're investment groups headed by Bob Myers from Bexley, who's here tonight, by Don Casto, and by other people that are familiar to us that understand that this building is important and want very badly to be its stewards for its next generation of life. And so we're very excited to be a part of this. And you can imagine just looking at these drawings and photographs how much there is to learn and how much we have to find out about its condition.
Here we are, another episode of Riding Away with Dave, and with the special guest, and very successful guest tonight, Seth Moherman. And man, it's really nice to meet you, and let's let everybody know what the event was tonight, because it was a very successful event, like I said, and I'm sure you're very thrilled and excited with it all. So go ahead and let the audience know what it was tonight.
We screened my documentary, The Citadel, Birth of LeVeque Tower. It's not the premiere, we've shown it one other time, but this is the first proper theater, and I'm very excited to have it here at the Drexel just because I love this theater. I've seen a lot of my favorite movies here, here over the years, and I really wanted to have it here. So to have it here and this kind of turnout is a big deal for me.
Well, it was a great turnout and a very enthusiastic audience, and you did a real nice little Q&A. And who was the gentleman that was talking about?
Bob Loveridge, he's the, or Loveridge, I should heard his name and I horribly pronounce it. Bob he is the current architect for the owners group, and as well as he's been involved with the building over the years. He said, I know he did the renovation for the penthouse upstairs for LeVeque years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and he's, spearheading the move to renovate the building now.
Okay, so you guys had a little Q&A after the show. Now let's go ahead and let everybody know just about the documentary itself and a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, my background is I started out working local news here in Ohio, worked for a couple years, moved to like Washington, D.C. and then New York, and I was working as an editor or assistant editor in television programs for Discovery Channel, National Geographic, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This film, I kind of focus on the origin of the building. Like, my goal was to explain where the building came from and why it looks the way that it does.
Okay.
That's sort of why my story kind of tapers off at the end of that original founding period. I don't really focus so much on the LeVeque family once they took ownership of the building.
Okay.
And I made that decision because I feel that story is out there. A lot of the contemporary information is already out there.
Yeah.
People have already done stuff on it. I wanted to tell people something that they hadn't heard before or that they didn't know.
Well, I really like the way you put it together because you gave so much background, which I thought was really cool about, there in the 1800s and the presidential election from, 1896?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when you're trying to tell some sort of historical doc that explains the background of something, how far you keep going back. You just kind of pick a point, and I'm like, and I sort of decided that was the beginning of his ideology and led to the construction of the building.
Okay.
So that's I could have kept going. It's funny because when I was talking about like that panic of 1893, I could have started talking about Grover Cleveland's administration, and there was all these railroad riots.
Yeah.
And I just decided, that's not as relevant to this, and I kind of just made a clean cut right there.
Right.
And then the story forward.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed it, and it's a great documentary. And so, what's your plans for the future? Are you going to have some other showings around the country or around Ohio? Or?
I'm going back up to New York soon to do some work. One of my friends, she runs an art gallery in Dumbo, Brooklyn. I know we're gonna have a screening there, and after that, I'll probably try to get it aired on either the local PBS station or there's a national PBS program that I'm going to try to get it aired on.
Okay.
So, but after that, I doubt I'll have any. Well, I know next spring we're screening it at the Grandview Public Library.
Okay.
There might be some other small things like that, but I doubt I'll have anything else large.
Okay. Well, listen, it's very nice meeting you tonight, and good luck in the future. And it's a great film, and I urge anybody, if they get a chance to see it, to take advantage of that. And the name of the show again was?
The Citadel, Birth of the LeVeque Tower.
There you go. Another episode, Riding Away with Dave. Okay, it's a wrap.
Thanks, Dad.
Hey, thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Did I get a card from you?
No, I forgot to bring my
cards.
Okay,
I get more of my cards.
I will email you because I would like you to send me the stuff that you have too.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I got some nice little video, and I'll put something together, and then I'll put it on my YouTube site. It usually takes me at least a week or so.
Oh yeah, I know how to turn around it. People are always like, you just took photos last night. Why can't I have them? I'm just like, you're lucky if you get them within 2 months.
Okay, thank you, man. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Thanks.
All right, there you go. Episode here at the Drexel Theater, Columbus, Ohio, and nice turnout. Great show.
How we first started.
Oh, beauteous tower on high, our eyes rest lovingly, we sing thy praise. Far and wide through endless days, long